Okay, I'm out, it's around 5 in the morning, and I waited to make sure that this was it. This one is further away from me. It's over the lake, but it's another cluster. Must be about 10 miles. I'm at 80X. I'm using a Canon. It's got a 80X intelligence zoom and a 20X optical Canon lens. And this is another massive cluster because you can see it without anything. It's so bright. But I can definitely see it in the camera. I can always enlarge it. It is very bright. It's red and white hot, changing color. It's different than the one I saw last week. This one has a more round appearance. And it's big. It's at least 10 miles from me. That's why it looks so small. I'm at 80X. But it's been there for the last, I'd say 15 minutes, because it took me at least 5 to get dressed and come out here. And I waited around thinking it was a plane or lights from a plane, but that's not the case because it's in the same spot for 15 minutes now. And I think it was 5 o'clock when I came out. That's 5 a.m. This is January the 31st, 5 a.m. I think is when I started filming. If that's not the exact time, it's very close, only a few minutes difference. The object is still in the same place and it has not moved. It's not doing any movement, any minor movement is done by me because I'm talking. Because when I talk, the camera moves a little. The cluster is large, that's for sure. Okay, I'm just grabbing the camera so I don't drop it because it's pretty cold. This one seems to have a ring, a white hot ring on the outsides, and then that's surrounded by a red haze. So the white hot ring is inside the red portion. That's what it looks like through the eyepiece. I'll have to look at that closely when I enlarge it, or maybe it'll show up on computer without enlargement. I'll have to check that out later. Right now I'm just gonna take a video. It looks like it's moved away farther over the lake. This is near the border of Toronto and Etobicoke and going south over the lake around that area. It's not more west than Etobicoke. It's right around the borderline of Toronto and Etobicoke and just south further over the lake. and it's at least 10 miles from me because it's very small at 80x. And it's big because a smaller object wouldn't even be visible at that range, but I can see it with my naked eye. No camera needed, or binoculars or anything. It's so bright you can spot it without any trouble whatsoever. I wish it was closer so I could get a close-up shot of it, but I'll enlarge this later and we'll see what it's like. Because right now all I can see is the glow and a little bit of red and blue and even orange and yellow haze around the center portion, which is white hot. It's doing some movement, but in the same general area. It's not going one way or the other that much, or it doesn't appear to be. And it's not changing any altitude. I'm just gonna back off to show that it's over Toronto and the lake. Okay, there's how far it is. That's 10 miles. Okay, so that little speck, or a white speck in the sky, that's it. So here we go. Whew. I must have missed it. I gotta go back and backtrack. All that. There it is. Okay. I went too far. Okay, here it is. Okay, it knows I'm filming it. That's when it starts to go invisible. It knows it's on camera. And you see the hexahedron right away expand and all that, and it looks bigger. So there's what it normally looks like when it's glowing like that, but as soon as it feels threatened, it starts to expand that hexahedron, and it starts getting even hotter. And what that is, it's all these other entities that make up the cluster. They spin around the nucleus of it at such a high speed that it creates a lot of heat, and the whole thing glows. So it's almost like an atom, but at a high vibration, so high that it glows. And it spins so fast, and the nucleus is spinning around itself, and the other entities are spinning around the nucleus. So all of that spinning and rotations and orbits, they create a lot of heat, and there's how much heat they create, that it's white hot. Who knows what the temperature is inside of that cluster, but it's really super high and super hot. I don't have gloves on, and it's very cold on my hands because I can't work the camera with gloves. I wish they'd make one that you could use gloves with. That's all this stuff when it's in the winter to do this. But that's a big cluster. Even from here, let's see again how far it is. That's how far it is. That little speck out there over the lake. That's it. I'm just gonna see if there's anything else. No, that's the only one tonight. There's one on the ground. I'll just go for this one. You can see the other clusters spinning around, and they're going pretty fast. Each one of those large clusters has about 6 or 8 other very large clusters that are inside of it and make it up, and those clusters have even 6 or 8 that make them up, and it subdivides like that into smaller and smaller clusters, where in the end they can be microscopic. The size of the cluster can be microscopic. So it's just cluster upon cluster upon cluster, and each cluster is made up of other clusters. So they could be as large as anything in space. They can be larger than a planet, because there's no limit to their size in space, and they can be smaller than an atom. So that's one thing about these things. They can be as large as you want, infinitely large, and infinitely small, and they still belong to the same entity, because the whole thing is one thing. And even this big cluster is part of a larger cluster. The other cluster is so large that we can't see it, how large it is, but it's somewhere around the Earth, and this is just part of a much larger mass. And this particular cluster that's glowing right now is an accelerator. It accelerates all the other particles or clusters in the air around it, and makes them maintain their speed. It sort of gives them energy. It's like a charging station. They stop in, recharge, and get spat out like electrons do in an atom. The difference between this and an atom is that this doesn't hold the particles in orbit. It only holds them in orbit enough to charge them, and then lets them loose, and they shoot off and fly on their own. So this is like a generator and a recharging station, and that's why it's glowing, because that's where all the energy is concentrated. And the way they make the energy is by spinning around the nucleus. And the faster they spin, the hotter it is, and the brighter the glow. And right now it's pretty bright. Hold on, I get it. Oh boy. See, as soon as I move the camera, it can sense the laser finder, the distance finder from the camera, and it acts right away. It's very sensitive to laser. Must have been attacked by lasers at one point. They don't like lasers. So as soon as it senses the laser, the hexahedron shape pops up right out like an umbrella, and that's a defense shield of some sort. or something else. It can stand more still than I can hold a camera. That's me when I talk, I move it. But that thing's been in one spot. It moves every now and then, but when it stops, it's in one spot. And it's like glued to it. Now it's moving. Hold on, I'll center it. Yeah, it's moving. So hold on. Yeah, I don't see how anybody can deny the existence of extraterrestrial life forms. Look at all of them. And there've been hundreds of them that I've seen in Toronto just in a week. And I don't know who in their right mind could say they don't exist, or, you know, people are crazy that see them and stuff like that. You gotta be more open-minded, because these things are here and they're not gonna go away. I just hope they're here and they don't do anything to harm anyone, but they're here and they're not gonna go away. And denying them is not gonna make them disappear. We can't just keep closing our eyes and saying they don't exist. We gotta, you know, face the facts. They're here. I'm just gonna back off and see how far it is now. That's the only way I can tell. Looking through this little lens, through this little eyepiece. Okay, it's closer. It's not so far over the lake now. It's around the edge of the lake there. Yeah, it's moved in closer. It's so cold, tears are running down my face. That's how cold it is. I'm gonna freeze right on my face. See it pull off, and it went like a couple of miles in a flash. Distance means nothing to this thing. It just does it in less than a second. These are the things I've been talking about, and I get a lot of information from them. I don't know if that's good or bad, but they give me a lot of information. That's the files I'm talking about that I have. That's who's giving it to me. I have to admit they're intelligent, because I can't even fathom some of the things that are in the files, but still, at least they gave it to me. I'm gonna have to quit soon. My hands are totally frozen. My fingers are like hurting so bad. It's really cold. I'm not going to be able to last much longer. It could stay there for hours for all I know. And there's no point in freezing to that. That's not the idea. I'm just gonna check what time it is now. Okay, it's 5:30 now. I lost it. Hold on. I'm gonna get it back off. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's 5:30. So I've been out here half an hour watching it. Pretty soon the card will run out. It's only a 4 gigabyte card. It can't hold that much film. At least I have good shots of it. That thing is gigantic. It's bigger than a house, that's for sure. Yeah, it's a hexahedron cluster. And now you're having a good look at it with me. And that's what it is. These are the hexahedron clusters I'm talking about. And this is no imaginary, and it's not a hologram or anything like that. This is for real. It's a living entity, and it's not from this planet. It comes from outer space. I don't know exactly where from, but very far away. Places we'll never get to as a species. They're just too far away. But they have the means and the technology to come all the way here and go to a lot of other places that we never even dreamed existed. So there's a lot to say about them. This is no small matter and no small thing. It's bigger than a house. Anyway, for all the disbelievers, here is proof. They are here, they exist, whether you like it or not. If you can't cope with it, that's too bad, because disbelieving and denying them is not going to change anything. They're here to stay, and that's the way it is. So that's it. There is a central part to it, like right in the nucleus, and I don't know what's in the center, but it's like a hexahedron within a hexahedron and another one inside of that one, and who knows how many of them there are in there, but all the shapes are hexahedron. So it's almost like those wooden eggs that they get smaller and smaller as you take them out from one from the other. You can see the clusters orbiting really fast around the circumference of it. Really fast. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut it out. I can't stand the cold anymore. I'm freezing right now. And my hands, I can't even feel them. So, take a good look at it, because now I gotta turn off the camera and say goodbye to it. I'll watch it from inside the house. Okay, that's it.